Hi, I'm attorney Eric Trabin. I'm a former Florida State prosecutor, and now with Lucid Legal, I'm a private criminal defense attorney serving all of Central Florida. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos. As you know, not only do we present videos about the law and the criminal justice process, but because I'm a big nerd, we also have video series on comic books, movies, TV shows that deal with certain legal issues. Now, in honor of Warner Brothers releasing The Batman on March 4th, we've made a couple of videos detailing legal issues found in Batman entertainment. In another video, we've already shown the classic Batman episode, The Trial of Batman, where Batman's villains hold a trial to determine whether or not Batman himself is guilty of causing and creating the villains that he fights. Now, in honor of the Batman movie coming out on March 4th, we decided to take some video exhibits. Right? In any trial, there's going to be exhibits of evidence, and some of the best evidence comes in the form of video. Now, sometimes video exhibits are going to be partial or incomplete, so we can only get a few snippets of information that we have to glean as the triers of fact. In that regard, these videos function perfectly as video exhibits in a trial. So, is Batman guilty of creating the problems of Gotham? Is Batman guilty of any other crimes? Let's go to the exhibits. First, Exhibit A. Here is Warner Brothers' The Batman coming on March 4th. Start out with police lights already.
Police! Hands up!
The police are doing the right thing. They've got their lights and sirens activated. They're giving lawful, legal commands, telling police hands up. All the things that Batman does not do.
Stay still! Get out of here!
Ooh. A mysterious coffee cup with a question mark in it. So we know that must be the Riddler. Now, did the Riddler put that question mark in his coffee for the cops to see? Did he know that we, the audience, were going to look at it? Was there simply a forensic technician who was taking video evidence for the exhibit for court later on and decided to take this video of the coffee cup? That's a mystery that hopefully will be answered when we see the full movie, The Batman.
Fear is a tool. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
All right, Batman looks vastly outnumbered by these gangsters. Let's see if he can take them in, apprehend them, and do it by following the law. Well, he's bulletproof. Batman just tasered that guy, so that's kind of like the police.
I've been trying to reach you.
Fire me good!
This is about a king and prisoners to match.
I can take care of myself.
If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left. I don't care what happens to me.
It's only gonna get worse for you.
Whoa, take it easy, sweetheart. Hear everything they say, ain't you?
Well, he's teaming up, it looks like, with Catwoman, another vigilante. Now, he and Catwoman can act like police and do citizens' arrests, but they're not the police. And I see Catwoman brandishing a firearm. We know generally it's accepted Batman doesn't like to use guns. So in that regard, if he's going to be acting like the police, at least he's using some level of restraint. But now he's teaming up with Catwoman, who does not have any kind of compunction about guns.
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
Right? Now, the law is not actually supposed to be about vengeance, and neither are the police. So right off the bat, that is what we would call a confession. That's Batman on film admitting that he's doing this to make himself feel good and get that sense of revenge. Not in order to create justice, not to help save lives or have a more peaceful city. He's vengeance. He's taking it upon himself to be judge, jury, and executioner to make himself feel good. So that right there from this exhibit is going to be some damning evidence against Batman in his trial. Well, he's definitely engaging in some reckless driving with this car. The Batmobile looks awesome in this, and I like that not only does it shoot the flame out the back, but it's like a blue flame, which is super cool, right? No one's going to mistake that for a police car, but he's got to be violating almost every single traffic law every time he uses it.
Black and blue and dead all over. Dear God.
I got you! I got you!
No, he did not get him. Wow. So the clip ends with Batman looking to apprehend the Penguin. Unfortunately, the clip doesn't show us enough of the context, right? We know that the Penguin was trying to escape. He did something where he gets Batman, but he was wrong. The question is, was Batman legally justified and permitted to try to apprehend the Penguin all on his own that way? Most of the time, I'd say probably not. He's not able to engage in that much wanton property destruction and cause that much mayhem and havoc without consequence. And in general, when there's already a trend in policing to try to de-escalate more and emphasize de-escalation, obviously Batman is going the opposite route. So in addition to committing other crimes that he's not going to be protected by simply because he's Batman, he's also seemingly violating both constitutional law and current public policy when it comes to policing. So the video has some damning evidence in it. It has Batman admitting that he's vengeance, right? He's not operating to enforce the law, and he's certainly not operating within the law. We saw a whole bunch of different crimes that he committed: illegal modifications of his car, reckless driving, excessive force, false imprisonment. Coupled with his confession, really does sound like the state would have a great case in proving that he's a vigilante. Now, we've got more exhibits, so maybe we'll find something exculpatory, that is, showing that maybe Batman is innocent in some of the other exhibits. Here's Exhibit B.
Bruce Wayne,
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be bothering you here, but your people keep telling me you're unavailable. You know, you really could be doing more for this city.
Now, I don't know who is telling Bruce Wayne, you really could be doing more for the city, but it echoes a common sentiment that people have who criticize Batman. If you watched our earlier video of the trial of Batman, I even mentioned in there how Batman, as Bruce Wayne, with all of his exorbitant wealth, could really do a lot to lift the city out of poverty, to do things to help the social and economic conditions that lead to wanton and rampant crime that is afflicting Gotham City. And instead of doing those things, Batman is taking it upon himself to dress up as a bat and beat people to a bloody pulp at night. So I don't know if this person talking to him is talking to him as Bruce Wayne the person, if that person knows that Bruce Wayne is also Batman, but the criticism sticks either way. Bruce Wayne, Batman, could be doing a lot more for the city, and spending time as Batman is not really going to be focusing his efforts in the best possible way. entertaining as hell for sure, but it's not necessarily the most effective. Now, that's just the indictment. That's just someone accusing him of being able to do more for the city. Let's see if there's any evidence in the exhibit that really sheds light on this.
Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
Right? Batman is not fulfilling the Wayne legacy of philanthropic efforts for the city of Gotham. Now, we know about Bruce Wayne's nighttime hobbies, and Bruce Wayne probably thinks that he's being a philanthropist. But again, the public persona certainly is that he is not. As far as anyone can tell, he's not doing anything. He thinks that's funny, but almost killing bad guys is not really philanthropic work.
The Riddler is asking for you. The killer left this with the Batman. Why is he writing to you? You came. I've been trying to reach you.
Riddler's latest. It's all about the Waynes. If we don't stand up, no one will.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays. The bat and the cat. It's got a nice ring.
The Bat and the Cat, it does have a nice ring. It really reinforces that Batman and Catwoman are working together in this. Now, generally, we already know that Batman is not a law enforcement officer. The Constitution does not apply to non-state actors, which is one of the reasons why we only want official law enforcement to be in the law enforcement business. Nonetheless, both he and Catwoman really seem to be making a pact to take the law into their own hands. That's damaging. Certainly, they could be deputized by law enforcement, by the Gotham PD. They certainly could be working together with law enforcement, as we've seen in other formats and versions of Batman. But in this, it's Batman and Catwoman working together. So this little bit of evidence, we can glean from it that they really are working outside the legal system.
Friend of yours? I'm not so sure. I'm just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city. You're part of this too.
Hands up! Stay still!
How am I part of this? Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were. Bruce Wayne.
You know, without getting into too much social commentary here, I'm sure that there are people within the city of Gotham who have very strong opinions about billionaire Bruce Wayne and what does he do with that money. What social harm, what human suffering must occur in order for Bruce Wayne and Wayne Enterprises to continue to rake in all of the money that he does in order to keep his billionaire status so that he can finance his vigilante operation. Now, most people in Gotham don't know that he's the vigilante. It seems like from the evidence that maybe Riddler might know. That's still questionable. But either way, there's clearly a city that is, you know, this beautiful metropolis. It's not Metropolis, it's Gotham, but it's this beautiful mega city. It's glittering. It looks wealthy. It looks successful, but it's a cesspool. It's got a lot of problems, and there's a rot. And instead of addressing the problems, which now two different people in this one clip have criticized Bruce Wayne for, we know that Bruce Wayne is instead living it up, dressing up as a bat. So there's definitely some condemnation that's afforded for Bruce Wayne. We can definitely criticize Bruce Wayne for living a luxurious lifestyle and raking in billions of dollars at the expense of the people who live in his city so that he can then turn around and beat up the most violent of those people. There's definitely some problems with Batman and his methodologies.
All these years, you lied to me, Alfred. We all have our scars, Bruce. He's still away.
He's involved in this?
Oh, he's not involved.
How do you know? He's a vigilante.
Who are you under there?
And we just heard someone, maybe it was Commissioner James Gordon, saying, how do you know that Batman's not in on this? He's a vigilante. So now in this one exhibit, we've heard 3 different times about him operating outside of the law. And that creates a big problem for trustworthiness. How are we supposed to trust someone who we can't see their face? How can the legal system, how can the community rely on this one person who doesn't follow any rules, who doesn't follow the law, who's not bound by the Constitution, taking everything into his own hands for his own enjoyment and entertainment? It's a problem, and obviously they don't trust him. It raises questions whether or not he's personally committing all the crimes himself, or whether or not he's just making the problems worse. That we may need more evidence for, but it's clearly a problem.
What are you hiding?
Selena, don't throw your life away.
Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them.
It can be cruel, poetic, or blind, but when it's denied, it's through violence you may find justice. The answer's justice.
Come on, vengeance.
The answer is justice. Batman is vengeance. Does vengeance serve justice? The lawyer in me would say no, that justice is about more than vengeance. Justice is about the law. It's about order. It's about harmony. It's not about just making someone feel good by beating another person up. But we know that even though Batman claims to love justice, he really is about vengeance. In fact, we see here, it looks like Catwoman's about to even call him vengeance. Yep.
Let's get into some trouble.
Wow, it looks awesome. It ends with Catwoman even telling Batman, calling him vengeance, let's get into some trouble. As awesome as this is, as amazing as the Batman movie looks, you can't avoid the conclusion that Batman is just violating the law left and right, and he's doing it for his own kicks. Well, that's Exhibit 2. Let's see what the next exhibit is.
When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call, it's a warning. From your secret friend, who, having a clue. Let's play a game, just me and you. This is about a king. Riddler's to match. I'm just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city.
So again, we hear the Riddler saying that he wants to unmask the truth about this cesspool of a city. What truth is that? Seems like Batman or Bruce Wayne or both are somehow involved in that. There's a connection with the Riddler. What that connection is isn't so clear. But we know that there's some kind of injustice that has occurred that, from what we can ascertain, the Riddler seems to think Bruce Wayne and or Batman are involved in this injustice. Let's keep finding out.
I've been trying to reach you. Tell him I thought of this. Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were.
Right? Riddler even tells Batman, you're a part of this. Batman doesn't know how. I thought he is supposed to be a great detective.
It's only going to get worse for you.
Just goes to show that sometimes even great detectives don't have a clue.
Selena, don't throw your life away.
I can take care of myself.
Isn't he afraid of you? I'm not so sure.
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
I'm vengeance. If you are justice, please do not lie.
So this is the first time we actually got something new from the exhibits. There's been a lot of repetition so far, and reminders that this is a battle between the Riddler and Batman. And there was even the reminder of Batman saying, "I'm vengeance." Now, what's new is that immediately afterwards we hear the Riddler's voice saying, "If you are justice, don't lie." Clearly, the exhibit seems to indicate that there is this tension between the image of Batman as vigilante and vengeance versus law and order and justice, right? These two different concepts are in opposition to each other. You can't have both at the same time. So which is it? Is Batman about vengeance or is he justice? Riddler seems to be asking him for justice, but Batman affirms on his own that he's vengeance. So between those two, Batman is siding with vengeance, not justice. There's not a whole lot of evidence here so far, but again, that seems to favor the prosecution against Batman. Just because Batman beats up other criminals doesn't make Batman justice. Other criminals can beat up criminals.
Mr. Wayne.
What is the price for your blind eye?
What are you doing?
If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left.
I don't care what happens to me.
You better stop your goddamn vehicle now!
I mean, that seemed pretty harsh, but clearly the police were ordering Batman to stop. They told him to stop his goddamn vehicle now, and of course, Batman didn't. He's the goddamn Batman. But if anything, that reinforces that Batman is actively refusing lawful police orders, is causing rampant property destruction. That doesn't really put him on the side of good guy.
Come on, vengeance. Let's get this in trouble.
Lights me up. I've got those scars, Bruce. We need to save them. Here and now.
Are you just hideously scarred?
Well, that was another really exciting clip, an exciting exhibit. It makes me want to see the movie a lot. Not a whole lot of evidence other than we see the pairing of Batman saying he's vengeance coupled with the Riddler questioning him if he's justice. But again, it ends with reinforcing that Batman is vengeance. So again, unfortunately, this exhibit seems to favor more of the prosecution and less of the defense. I think we have one last exhibit, so let's check it out and see if we've got enough evidence to have a ruling. It's ominous, that's for sure. No more lies. Lies seem to factor pretty prominently in this movie.
Who? Haven't a clue.
More lies.
Let's play a game. Just me and you. Any of this mean anything to you?
You're becoming quite a celebrity.
Alfred has called Batman a celebrity. It seems to reinforce that what Batman is undertaking, and he's doing it more for how he feels about himself, and less about creating justice. No one goes into the justice business to become a celebrity.
Why is he writing to you? If you are
So here we heard it again, the Riddler saying, "If you are justice, please do not lie." Now, I appreciate that a psycho killer like the Riddler is being polite and saying please, but he's reinforcing that there's some lie that's being perpetrated, some fraud that's occurred, and positing it with, "if you are justice." We know Batman is not justice by his own words so far. Will there be anything more for us? Let's find out.
What is the price for your blind eye?
I don't really know what this riddle means. What is the price for your blind eye? But it certainly seems to bring up questions of corruption. Who is the Riddler questioning? Is he questioning the police, the people of Gotham, the legal system, the mob, the Batman himself? Where's the fraud? That's one of the mysteries of the movie, I assume, and it's something we're looking forward to finding out. But clearly there's this question of lies and fraud that are incongruous with justice.
The hell are you supposed to be?
So that's clearly excessive force. It's a good thing that he's not a police officer, because that level of violence is not something that we can condone as a society. The victim of Batman has already been rendered probably unconscious, is on the ground, and Batman is just pummeling the snot out of this guy on the ground. Certainly exciting and fun to watch, but not really the sign of a good guy on the side of justice. So not so good. This is some pretty bad evidence, Batman. It doesn't look so good for you. You're caught on camera using some pretty significant, serious, excessive force.
I'm vengeance.
Oh, and there he says it again. I'm vengeance. He is not justice.
This guy's crazy.
You're part of this too. How am I part of it? You'll see.
Wow, looks great. So that's the last exhibit that we have. Now, ultimately, we're going to need to see the movie to get all of the information and to get the answers to our questions. But if we had to make a decision today, after reviewing these videos, the evidence seems to fall on the side of Batman, the vigilante, not justice. I think the conclusion that we can draw is that Batman is guilty. He's guilty of committing a lot of different crimes that we've seen in the evidence. We've seen him commit numerous criminal traffic offenses, such as reckless driving, failure, fleeing and attempting to elude law enforcement with lights and sirens activated. He's resisting officers with and without violence. He's causing tons of property damage, a crime we would call criminal mischief in Florida. Not to mention the false imprisonment, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, causing serious bodily harm, felony battery. He's committing crimes left and right. But is he working with the police? Is he doing it for justice? According to his own words, he's doing it for vengeance, right? None of the things that we've seen seem to put Batman in a positive light. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Batman nerd. I love Batman. But we know that the trend over recent years has been to sort of show the morally gray area of Batman. And if I had to guess, this movie is going to come down more on the side of Batman being a problem and causing additional problems, and not just being a golden superhero. Obviously, there's going to be an element to the movie that shows that Batman is necessary, perhaps a necessary evil, but even a necessary evil is still evil. It is not justice, it is vengeance. So really exciting stuff. I can't wait to see the Batman from Warner Brothers. It looks like it's coming out really soon. The release date is March 4th. We'll certainly be making more videos talking about Batman, superheroes, comic books, and the law. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to leave some questions and comments on our page. Who knows, maybe your questions will even be featured in a future video. Thank you, and stay tuned for more videos. We've got great stuff coming at you.